Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review live from the Algarve in Portugal. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this lovely, pleasant Thursday evening by Jonny McFarlane. How are we doing, Jonny?
Yeah, doing well, mate. Taking a wee holiday at the moment, but I thought I'd come on for this because really, more than anything else, I want to live vicariously through you out there in the sun. To be fair, Glasgow's actually not been too bad today. It's been quite nice here.
Wow. Well, it's far too hot for me. 31 degrees, the taxi driver told me when he dropped me off. And it's the same time here as it is back home. But it's absolutely melting. Just behind me, I'm sure you can see, folks, is the Mediterranean Sea with the beach as well. Lots of sun worshippers out there enjoying the evening sun as it prepares to head over the sunset. But great news for Rangers, of course. That's what people are tuning in for, Jonny. We'll touch on that very shortly. It's just been announced at 6 o'clock that Antonio Colak has eventually signed for the club. Just a bit of housekeeping, as ever. As you can see, folks, on your screen, we've got that great offer on the website just now. If you subscribe now, you get your free 30-day trial. Full access, won't cost you a penny, just £2.99 per month. Thereafter, just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe for all the details. And as you can see, the One Football app is our sponsor for our briefing videos. It's your one-stop shop for all your footballing needs. You can keep up to date with all the latest goings on from Ibrox. You can get notifications to your phone when news breaks, such as today, the announcement of Antonio Colak signing. You can keep up to date with who the opposition are, fixture lists, all that's going on in Scottish football and across the border down south as well. And you can keep abreast of things over on the continent. The good news about it, folks, is it's absolutely free, so it won't cost you a penny, and it's available for iPhone and Android users. A lot of you are downloading it and saying great things. Okay, let's talk Rangers then, Jonny. Antonio Colak has signed, sealed and delivered. I'll just read you a statement that's been issued by both he, Giovanni van Bronckhorst and Ross Wilson. Just the short statements from each of them. Colak says, I am really, really happy to sign for Rangers. I have played in front of those incredible fans already, and now I want to experience on my own what it is like to be a part of this huge club, to win titles and to achieve every target the club has. Giovanni van Bronckhorst, the Rangers manager, said he is a very experienced player who has played at high levels and scored a lot of goals for the teams he has played for. We wanted to add some more players to our attacking options, and Colak is a player we welcome a lot and will give us a lot of strength up front. And sporting director Ross Wilson added, welcome to Antonio. We're delighted to have him join our squad. Know how much Gio and the staff are looking forward to working with him on the pitch. It was a long time coming, Jonny, but Rangers have their first real proper summer signing, you would say, for the first team. I know John Souttar was a pre-contract, but it's good to have this one over the line after what seemed like a couple of weeks. I think we were holding on and just waiting for his Greek side POK to give the go-ahead, really.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about this signing, Derek. I've got to say, the initial thoughts when this name was mentioned was it seemed a bit lazy. You're thinking to yourself, well, is it because he just performed against Rangers, for Malmo in the Champions League, or is there something more to it? And actually, the more you dig in, you realise there is something to it, and that this guy has got a lot going for him in terms of what he's done in the past, his CV, and why he can fit into this Rangers team. And actually, Derek, it was not just the scouting pieces that we've done that have kind of given me the information that I needed to assess him properly. But the last thing that I really, really liked was in the piece that you did with the Jonas Hansen, the Swedish football journalist. Yeah. And he was talking about his goal ratio in the Swedish league. And he sort of said his goals were mostly against worse teams rather than the top teams. He kind of tended to struggle and be a bit isolated against the top teams. But he scored a hatful against the lower lights. And I thought to myself, that is absolutely what Rangers need. Because in Kemar Roof and Alfredo Morelos, you've got guys that are scoring in the big games. That's never been their problem. What Rangers have needed for quite a long time is someone that just takes absolute delight in racking up the numbers. And this guy is big, he's physical, He can head the ball. So he gives you another option. He gives you a slightly different option to what Rangers currently have. But I really like the fact that he can grab those goals in the penalty area. He's a box player, and he's someone who thrives on service against weaker teams. That is exactly what Rangers need.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I think I've went on record, of course, I've said many times, I think they need more firepower in the forward areas. Van Bronckhorst touched on it there. I think they still need one more, Johnny, but I think this guy certainly seems the real deal. We just lost Johnny there. He's back there. It certainly seems the real deal. They need someone, a penalty box poacher, someone that's good in the air. God, how many times have you watched Rangers where they're throwing crosses into the box and there's no one on the end of them? This guy can finish eerily, and I'm really excited to see him play for Rangers. Hopefully it's the first of a number of signings. I see Giovanni Van Bronckhorst gave an interview to Sky a little earlier on. We're led to believe the club is working hard on bringing in more players. Another player linked today, Johnny, that we sort of touched on, I think last week it was, Tom Lawrence at Derby County. Now, I would not be opposed to see him turning up at Ibrox. I've seen him a couple of times. Very impressive. Scored a screamer against Bolton. I was covering a game down there. Brilliant player on his day. He's one of those that gets bums off seats. I think that would be a brilliant acquisition if Rangers can somehow manage to convince him to sign up.
Yeah, I've got to say, Derek, I don't know a lot about Tom Lawrence. We've got a scouting piece coming out tomorrow. I'll have a good look at his data tonight and have a look at some of the footage. I've had a quick blast through YouTube, but I'm always very, very, very careful about making any assessment on a player based on YouTube. Going back to the days when I first saw Carlos Pena and thought Rangers had signed the new Pelé based on his YouTube showreel, which was explosive. In fact, I've actually never seen a better YouTube showreel than Carlos Pena's. It's absolutely remarkable. So I think it's one in terms of Tom Lawrence. I'll have to have a look into the detail. But what's clear from just looking at just last season's goals is there's a guy that's got the ability to give you an explosive finish. Several sort of top bag finishes, several spectacular finishes. He's obviously quick. He's obviously mobile. He can obviously go past the man. 28 years old. So he's coming in ready-made. This is not a project signing if Rangers were to secure the signature. So it's someone I think that would definitely give you something in the front three. A sensible signing without being a spectacular signing, but one where you could get a player who could come in here, I think, and absolutely explode and thrive. But at the same time, we know that he's got issues with his temperament. We know he can be a bit explosive. I've also seen him getting sent off.
I like that in a way. I like that in a way. I like that in players. I know we've had it with Alfredo Morelos. He's sort of matured a lot, Johnny. I would say. But you like that bit of devilment in players, I've got to say. We've seen it a little bit with John Lundstrom. As long as they're teetering on the right edge of the law and they're not going over the top and too far, then I don't have any problem with that.
What I like about Lawrence, Derek, as well, is that he can, from what I've seen, he can play left, right, or through the middle. Yeah, and he could quite easily probably even fit in as a 10 if you were needing it based on the kind of skill set that I've seen. So he's definitely nimble, he's definitely mobile, he's definitely got a finish in him. So all those things are good. But he comes with a bit of baggage. He's had some issues at Derby. But as you say, Derek, to be fair, he was appointed club captain at the start of the year by no less than Wayne Rooney. Yeah. So I think you've got to say that if anyone knows what a captain should be, it's that man. I mean, he was at Manchester United under the tutelage of Roy Keane right at the very start of his career. I think most people would say that Roy Keane was up there in the top 2 or 3 captains of the last 30 or 40 years in the English league. Yeah. And has been under some very, very good players, throughout his career, wherever he's gone. So I think you've got to trust in that. And I would suggest that shows that he's a player who's capable of maturing and developing, because Rooney just wouldn't have given him that kind of responsibility if he didn't feel he was up to it.
Yeah, lots of comments coming in, folks. None other than our very own Joshua Barry. He says, "Where's the sunnies, Derek?" I don't know what's best. I've got the sunnies right here, folks. Is that better for you? I don't know if I can quite see my screen with him on. So
yeah, it's slightly disconcerting not being able to see your eyes, Derek.
Yeah, so it's a big thumbs down for the sunglasses, and we'll stick to the normal spectacles for this evening's briefing. That may change tomorrow when the sun is absolutely blaring here. It's cracking part of the world here. Quartera, they call it. It's a little village about 10 kilometres away from Albufeira. Now, I know a lot of Rangers supporters heading out here to Albufeira way. Give us a shout, folks. I'll be in and around Albufeira on Saturday morning, speaking to a lot of you, hopefully, with your thoughts on the season ahead and all that sort of stuff. I know that many of you making your way over to watch that Sunderland game. It'll be great to see you on Saturday. There's no doubt about it. Let's see what we've got here. Some of the questions coming in. It was an interesting one. Let's see here. RFC 56. Keep saying Colak.
Colak. Yeah.
Roof Sakala isn't going to get the goals to win the league. We need another quality striker, number 9, and a right winger.
Derek, I'm not worried about that aspect of it. I think Colak is that kind of player. If you look at his goal scoring records in Sweden and in Croatia, it's excellent. It's 1 and 2. So if he plays 50 games for Rangers, he's going to get 25 goals. I don't think he's going to get 50 games with Alfredo Morelos there and Kemar Roof there. So we'll have to see how that pans out in terms of the transfer window.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of danger in those 4 players. Now, I've said before, and I'll say it again, I would like to see a guy who is a deadly sort of penalty box player. But if you're only playing one up front, if you're keeping those 2 aforementioned players from last season, then you've got a lot there. And if they remain injury-free, and I know that's a big ask with Kemar Roof, and I know actually it sounds like from reports that he's not going to be... he's not flown out actually to Portugal, so I don't know if that's been stood up yet, Derek. Obviously, I'm on holiday, so I'm not all on top of it as much as I would normally be. But
I'll chase up tomorrow.
Yeah. Look, certainly from what I've heard, that's the case. I think there's a lot there. I really do. I know what RFC 56 is saying in terms of Alfredo Morelos, top goal scorer in season 17. Roof, though, is a good finisher when he gets a chance and he stays fit. Sakala's a good finisher.
Yeah.
Colak as well. I think there's a lot there. My opinion is he's bang on about the right winger. I think if you get the right winger right, you're in a lot better shape.
Yeah, totally agree. A lot of viewers are interested to see what you're drinking, Johnny. Scott Robertson said vodka orange.
No, it's simply just diluted.
Is that a bottle of wine you're necking?
Because I was been dealing with various problems with a newborn child today.
Yes.
I was running late for this video and I had to grab whatever there was out of the fridge. And my wife likes to have diluting juice cold.
Yes.
I just grabbed the bottle, mate. Just grab the bottle. I'm aware it looks a little bit bourgeoisie drinking out of that, but it was not the intention. Normally, I'd be cracking open a beer at this time of night, but I just didn't have time to grab one. That was the intention. Tomorrow, Derek, when we do this, we will have a couple of beers.
Yeah, absolutely. CGM 55. So you guys are always in bloody holiday. This is hard pressing work. I'll have you know, buddies. This is covering Rangers is no easy task, so you need to put the graft in. There's a question that I wanted to touch on Van Bronckhorst's interview with Sky, Johnny, because he mentioned Ryan Kent and Alfredo Morelos. Talks are ongoing with those 2 about extending their deals. To me, that's encouraging. I think it would make financial sense for Rangers, not only financial sense, but on the park as well. 2 vital components of that team. You would struggle to replace any of them without spending a vast sum of cash. So if they can manage to sign them up, I very much doubt they'll see out their extended deals were they to sign. But I think it makes perfect sense, and it's encouraging to know that talks are ongoing with those 2. I think Aribo it's only a matter of time before he's paraded as a Southampton player, but those 2 are the two I think are a priority to get signed up.
Totally agree with everything you've just said, Derek. I'd love to see those two sign on. And I think we've got a piece that Josh is working on coming on the website, looking at this transfer window and why it's perhaps a little bit undercooked. Just generally, I'm not even talking about Rangers, I'm talking about across the board. Celtic have done a fair bit of business and all credit to them, but a lot of that was securing players that they already had in the building. But outside of that, there's been very little movement apart from certain clubs, certain clubs who have done well and the elite leagues. So we'll see if that continues or if there's actually a general kind of malaise in the transfer business in general that is still kicking on from COVID and clubs are still kind of holding back a little bit after the troubles and the tribulations that they went through financially trying to make it work without necessarily having a full stadium. So I think that's been an issue. Now, with that in mind, you wonder whether or not there will be as much interest as you would expect in players like Ryan Kent and Alfredo Morelos. Now, that's what Gio said today. If that continues, you'd have to hope that they see what Rangers are capable of as a club. They got to a European final last year. So it's a club where they have a platform to show their skills at the very highest level. They've got an opportunity to get into the Champions League this year. They can win trophies. Scotland's a nice place to live. Glasgow's a great city with a lot going on. Edinburgh's a world-class city. It's an hour down the road or along the road. So there's a lot going for Scotland. And there's a lot going for Rangers. You just have to hope that they can maybe see that and sign on. You just really would want to see them sign on. And if that can get done, to add to Connor Golson, to add to John Souttar, to add to Colak, if you add a right winger to that mix, who looks like a good right winger who can give Rangers something different, and Tom Lawrence, I think all of a sudden you're looking in good shape, Derek.
Yeah, I totally agree. Some comments come in. Walter Zenga touches on it. Not the great Italian goalkeeper, I'm sure. He also said no offers for any other player. Van Bronckhorst, he did say that. Sort of ties in with what you were just saying there, Johnny, that there is a sort of malaise in the transfer market at present, which is surprising for me with regards to Ryan Kent, because he was being talked up no end about his Europa League performances. We've all seen Owen Hargreaves liking them to Frank Ribery. Tearing apart Borussia Dortmund, tearing apart other sides, Braga, Leipzig, you name it. Red Star Belgrade, he scored that goal, of course, over there that ensured Rangers progress. So I've got to say I'm a little bit surprised there's been no offer for Ryan Kent. It's slightly surprising, but probably ties in with what you were saying. There's another...
There's one other element to that, which is... Rangers obviously playing against 3 Bundesliga sides. Now, I was speaking to an expert in the transfer market, someone who works in recruitment, and this was a few months ago. So you're talking about, I think, quite a bit before Rangers went deep. I think it was just after the Dortmund game. And he was talking about the failure of Jadon Sancho and why clubs will be really, really looking at any move that Haaland makes next. Because of the tactical nature of the Bundesliga, it favours attackers.
Yeah.
So players kind of they overperform in that environment because it's very open. There's lots of space to run into. And Jadon Sancho was cited as a perfect example when he comes to the Premier League. Struggles because it's an elite environment in terms of tactically, defensively. Every team's got a different way of playing, whereas in the German Bundesliga, it's mostly German coaches playing this high press, gegenpress style. Yeah. And I wonder if that is played into this, that there's almost an element of, well, it's just Bundesliga teams. And I know that sounds absolutely mad, but that was a guy who is all over recruitment and is involved in recruitment in football.
Wow.
So I wonder if that's playing into it, because Ryan Kent was absolutely sensational. And my thought was to dismiss what this guy said and just assume that teams in the Bundesliga themselves would look at it and go, well, if this is what he can do in a Europa League tie, imagine you get him in this league for 40 odd games a season.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like that's happening.
Yeah, the thing is, he's played in the Bundesliga before. Remember, he had a loan spell at Freiburg. Never quite worked for him when he was out on loan at a number of teams. Don't know if that plays into it as well. But yes, slightly surprising there's been no offer for Ryan Kent. Lots of comments coming in with the Genk winger Theo Bongonda. This was a report yesterday. I've seen a number of outlets suggesting Rangers were interested in the Democratic Republic of Congo star, 26 years of age. He's a winger. Don't know much about him or the claim. I need to read a little bit more into it about this, if it's in fact true. But it's certainly an exciting player, you'd have to say. Rangers, again, would have to spend a bit of money to bring him in. But the Belgian market is one that they know, of course, bringing in Yanis Hadji and Kemar Roof before from there. So has worked in the past for him. It's one that we'll certainly do a bit of digging on.
On that, Derek, I think that's been it's kind of had some cold water poured on it. I think it's
right. Okay.
It's been suggested that it's been very agent-led. Any of these stories, Scott Berg's pointing that out, and that's been reported today by Scott Burns, who's really, really good at the transfer stories. So I think if he's saying that, then you'd have to say that's probably likely to be the case. Let's
touch on this because this is a name that we spoke about last week, Johnny. Cliff from Renfrew, or if Renfrew's his surname, I do apologise. Martin Boyle would be an interesting signing, right winger. Now, of course, Craig Moore was the one I think that was said that Rangers should push hard for him and bring him in. Martin Boyle, for you, he did leave Hibs for what, £3 million, went to the Middle East, hasn't quite worked out.
Yeah, listen, I think he's a good player, did well at Hibs, but as I've said before, when we've discussed Martin Boyle, I put him in a category similar to Jordan Jones and Brandon Barker. Super quick. He's better than either of those and had a better record at Hibs than either of those had prior to arriving at Rangers. But he's a player that thrives on space and behind it. Rangers just don't have that. I think if you're to bring Martin Boyle in, is he better than Fashion Sakala? I don't think there's much in it, to be honest. So I wouldn't say he was a worthless signing. I don't think he would be a bad buy or anything like that. I don't really see it. I also think, he's, I think 28 or 29. He's certainly pushing on into his late 20s, early 30s. And I think you'd be talking about a reasonable amount of money to secure him away from Saudi Arabian football because it costs $3 million to get him there.
Yeah.
I don't see that one.
Yeah, and Fraser Ritchie makes a valid point. I think, is Martin Boyle any better than Scott Wright? We need better. I can't disagree too much with regards to that. Craig Marshall says, any update in Dapo Afolayan, quality player, think he'd be a great addition, still young, good business as well for selling on in the future. No, that's went a bit quiet. For me, I've said if Ryan Kent was to go, then he would for me would be an ideal replacement. However, if Kent stays, I don't think it would be worthwhile Rangers pursuing that one. I've got to be honest, it will cost him a bit of money as well, and he's a player that has to be playing games week in, week out. So I think it's all dependent on if Ryan Kent signs that new deal. So I think watch this space with regards to that one. I think that'll do us there. Thanks to everyone for getting in touch. I'm over here, of course, in the Algarve. Tomorrow we'll be going to speak to Giovanni van Bronckhorst and we'll give you a little insight into the training complex where they're spending a week's intensive training. Give you an idea of how the facilities that are on offer for the players. And then, of course, as I mentioned as well, I'll be heading over to Albufeira on Saturday morning, covering all the build-up to the game and the game itself. If you're heading out there, folks, then safe travels to each and every one of you. We'll be back again tomorrow morning, Johnny, or tomorrow morning.
Yeah, you'll be on tomorrow. I'll be in my bed. You'll be on with Josh in the morning.
So
we'll be back on in the evening as well. Yes,
no problem at all. It's a date. Okay. That'll do us there, folks. Just a reminder, as you can see the ticker below, we've got that great offer on the website just now. If you sign up now, you get a free 30-day trial, you get full access as well, and then it's just £2.99 per month. Thereafter, it is an absolute steal. Head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe for all the details.
That's changing tomorrow, Derek.
Wow! So there you go. Last chance.
£2 for 2 months, so you definitely want to get the free one if you're fancying it. Now's the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, doke, folks, that'll do us there. Enjoy your evening, and